Right, and hello, everyone. Hello, Zoomers. Good evening. Om Shanti. Who's here for the first time this evening? Anyone? No. Well, thank you for braving the cold and coming out. It's a lot warmer now than it was this morning at 5 a.m. I know that. Zoomers, we need more of you to come join us in person. It's such a nice experience. So if you, hopefully as the spring comes, we'll get more of you. Hi, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Hey, so we've been talking a lot about love, haven't we? What's left? Plenty, because I know the speaker, Sister Tina, I'm sure. But before we get to today, let's just recap a little bit. I know we did last week, but last week, Sisters Rupa and Niru were two students. One's 8 years, one's 4 years. Did a lovely job, didn't they? They were so wonderful at taking us to that higher level of real love. So I'm going to take you back to when you were a teenager for a second, okay? When you fell in love the first time. I'm not going to ask you to share. You too, Zoomers. We called it a crush, right? Was it true love? I was in love with Jeffrey Kahankson when I was 4 years old. He was 4 years old too. What was that? What would we call it here now? Let's grow it up. What would we call that? What kind of love is that? What do you think? Desires. I like that. Give me some more adjectives. Yeah. Body consciousness. I'm repeating so people on Zoom can hear you. Body consciousness. You want to continue? Were you saying something else? That about sums it up. Body consciousness is the dirty word around here, right? If we're in it, we're in the mud, right? So we're little, but it felt so good, didn't it? Come on, little crush, right? Sweet, almost like mommy and daddy. You know, they're kissing, they're hugging when things are nice. Yeah. So what's the difference between false love and true love? I know we'll say soul consciousness, right? So we've talked a lot this month about being a loving person. So if I ask you the difference, anybody have anything to say about the difference between being loving and not being loving? We all know when we're being loving, right? We're behaving well. Are we being loving to people when we're not in love? Can you explain, Parham? You could be. Not necessarily, that means, right? You want to elaborate and I'll sum it up for the Zoomers? I don't know. You said it first. Okay. Okay. That's a nice thought. Right. So we can be loving to people and not be in love, correct? Okay, but tonight we're going to talk about something different. Tonight, Sister Tina is going to talk about being love. So can we just formulate a little definition? What do you think the difference is? And then, of course, she'll give us plenty on it, I'm sure. You've heard Sister Tina before? She's got a Ph.D. in plant science, is that right? And you've been a research scientist? Smart lady, let me tell you, and runs things around here. It's just a beautiful, beautiful sister. But she's going to tell you the difference between being loving and being loved. What do you think? Let's start out thinking about it, okay? What's the difference? Okay, so people want to be around you, he's saying, because you are sending out these vibrations that are very positive, non-threatening, uplifting, not critical, right? That good? Anyone else want to add to his definition? Unconditional. We did a week on that also, right? Yeah, unconditional love means no matter what you do, no matter what the person says, got to love them anyway, which is really what Perhan was talking about, right? Okay. So what do you imagine the difference is between being loving, and you said you don't necessarily have to love the person, and being loved? Well, I'm going to let someone who's prepared a whole lot this evening answer that question for us tonight. Okay? So let's see. So the topic is being loved. And I think I've filled you in on everything I needed to say. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Sister Tina. Yes. Starting with a song? Okay, we're starting with a song. Enjoy the song.
There is a space that exists with us and around us, where angels sing on rays of light, on rays of light, and love pours forth, love pours forth, love pours forth from the heart of the universe. There is a space that exists with us and around us, where angels sing on rays of light, on rays of light, and love pours forth, love pours forth, love pours forth from the heart of the universe. There is a space that exists with us and around us, where angels sing on rays of light, on rays of light, and love pours forth,
Beautiful, beautiful. And now here is Sister Tina, who has over 25 years as a practitioner of Raja Yoga. And she just loves bringing all her studying into all facets of her life, here, there, everywhere. Enjoy.
Good evening. Om Shanti. Greetings of love from a warm heart. Outside it's cold, but inside feels warm, right? Here it's warm, right? Good. Yeah, everyone is feeling good. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. It's interesting how we all think aligned, Thank you, Louis, for that beautiful introduction and taking us a little bit into the topic. And thank you to our big brother playing such a beautiful song. This song actually reminded me of old poet from last century, Rumi. He has written poems about love. And he says, out beyond the ideas of wrongdoings and right doings, there is a field, there is a space, and I will meet you there, when he talks about love. So there is nothing like somebody's doing wrong or somebody's doing right. There's just the space. What is the space? I was thinking, the field of love, if you will, where everything feels fundamentally true. Everything feels pure. Everything feels safe, whole, complete. And so this field, I was thinking about this field when I was listening to this song. Very nice question Louis asked, what is love, And I was thinking that most of us here are spiritual seekers and have some idea about this. But nonetheless, I thought it might be nice to kind of start with these three basic questions. What is love? What love does? And why love matters? Just these three basic questions. Might be going up a little bit. That's how I can be. So just the whole evening, I think I will be revolving around these basic, very, very simple questions, if you will. And some of you might have answers, so you might actually help me. When you think about what is love, sometimes I wonder, is it that I am trying to convince myself that I am good based on my skills, based on my specialities, based on my degree, based on my strengths? Or is it that when someone compliments me on looking at my quality, they see my quality, then is that love? So what is love? There are many descriptions and many analogies used. It's one of the fundamental feeling that has been studied in the world a lot. And someone said, no, just now, Sarabjit said that it is unconditional, right? What is love? Love means, someone else also told me, complete acceptance. Complete acceptance means no conditions, right? So I see the person, I don't feel, I don't think, I just accept you as you are. So completely accepting that person. Love does not require to be, it does not need to be validated. It is not needed to be controlled. Like, right? It's a natural attraction or pull that creates unity, that creates oneness, that creates connection, if you will. It is not an emotion either. Love is not an emotion. Emotion sometimes create commotion inside and an upheaval inside, right? So sometimes, when people say, oh, I love you, and that's why I'm so concerned about you. Love has nothing to do with concern. I love you, and that's why I'm so stressed about you, what you're doing. So, but love has nothing to do with stress. I love you, but your actions make me worry what your future will be. So then there is no worry, has nothing to do with love. So love actually is giving the self. That is what you are. It is who I am. The self itself is love. And so the being in the human being is love, right? The being in the human being is the love. And that's why I said being love. When you say being human, what are we being? We're being love in very simple terms. So love ultimately, whatsoever, has nothing to do with doing. Does that make sense? I read this quote in one of the magazines many 10, 12 years back, and it just stays with me. It's stuck with me. And it says, love is love when it is independent of what you do or do not do. Isn't that beautiful? And instantly I felt I want to experience this kind of love, which is not dependent on external factor, which is not dependent on what you do or what you don't do. And sometimes we say, oh, I love them so much, but look what they're doing. Or you would say to the person, I love you so much, but see where we are today. What have you done? So it's interesting how we kind of see this whole idea of love. And so I feel that love is the purest form of the self, the most radiant expression, or the purest expression of the self is love. And here's a question for you all. Now, when you look yourself in the mirror, right? Imagine you're standing in front of a mirror and you're looking at yourself. Do you feel that love is innate to who I am? In other words, do you feel comfortable to say, I am love? Or you feel it is a separate entity? You can think about it and ponder a little bit about it. Is there comfort in just saying, I am love? Versus saying that I am so-and-so and love is separate. Love is a distinct energy out there. And so I feel that when I begin to see love in its true essence, true form, then I understand what love does. Love, like I said, love creates connection. Love creates unity. And so we can say love creates a family unit. Love creates communities. Love creates world. And sometimes we say in the teachings of the Brahma Kumaris, therefore, it is the foundational pillar, or it is one of the foundational pillars to create the future world, which will be filled with love and peace and happiness and prosperity, right? So love does magic in that way. Why? That's why love matters. Why love matters? Because love transforms. Even though I am not asking for the transformation, but the natural outcome is that it is so powerful. The vibration of love is so intense that it can bring that change. It can transform. And so sometimes we say that if I love something, I will pull others into it. If I love something, you can remember some instance in your life or something that you really loved and you told about it to 10 other people. You should do this, you should do this. It's very nice. right? I'll give you a couple examples. It's magical how my dad loves everything that my mom cooks. And the way he eats with so much love that you would feel it's so delicious. And it pulls you into eating that thing, you know. So all of her siblings would just sit and eat it. And similarly, there is another example. I remember when I was doing my internship, and it was a routine day. I was just extracting some solution, and I was checking if there is enough protein in it that I was interested in. And so I was running these gels, and I was, you know, trying to figure out where the protein is or not there. And then a week later, there is this one gentleman comes to me. He's actually appears to be my junior. He was 2 years junior to me. And he comes and tells me, I saw you. And I said, okay. It was like, big deal. And I said, no, I saw you. You were doing that experiment. And in that moment, he also shared with me that he was there actually to give an interview to the professor. And he was not going to give interview to the professor with whom I was doing my internship. And he said, but when I saw you, I felt I want to do exactly what you're doing. I wanted to be like that. And so I gave interview with that same professor. So I said, okay, congratulations. So it's like you can inspire somebody, you can pull them without having any burden on the mental self that I have to inspire, I have to do that. No, it will naturally do it. But on the other hand, it's vice versa is also true, right? If I'm not doing something with love, I could actually deter someone, I could push them away. And one time I was going to visit a doctor's office. This is back in India. And my friend came along with me. We needed the doctor to fill some form. So the friend brought her sister. The sister had just finished her higher school. And I don't know if you know, but in India, after you finish your high school, then you have to decide whether you're going to take science, whether you're going to take commerce, or whether you're going to go into arts. There are these three main branches and you choose from it. And so she said, I will visit. I want to see doctor's office. And so she came with us. And when we went to see the doctor was like very stern looking, and you know, the office was very boring. We asked him to fill the form and he said, okay. And he was filling the form, but he's thinking so much. He's not interested, as if people are coming to meet him, people are leaving, people are saying something, but everything, it's like no interest at all. And then after everything is done, we came out, and first thing the sister of my friend said, I'll never become a doctor. And I'm like, what happened? And she's saying, it's so boring, you know? So this is how you can, when you love something, you actually pull others into it. And that way also you will know whether you are actually doing what you're doing out of love or out of compulsion, right? So it's very interesting how love can transform. And I'm giving you very superficial kind of examples, but deep internal, you know, transformation can take place. Love can be so magical that you would do things which you would think I would never do, you know? And so that's why that transformation, that energy is very powerful. But why it also matters is because love heals. Those who have gone through pain recovery journey, if you watch their interviews or if you listen to their stories, many a times they will say it was love that brought about this healing. Love plays an important role because, like I was saying, love is nothing but it creates connection, right? And in science, a lot of work has been done on this. A lot of research studies have been done where they actually show that when love forms those connections, genes actually change. And what I mean by that is that the expression patterns of the genes can change, right? And so that can bring about a lot of healing. The connections are so important. It can be the connection with the self. It can be connection with Others, it can be connection with nature, with elements, whatever it is. But even if you connect with nature, let's say, right? When people are healing, what do? They go into nature, they go into silence, they connect with themselves, or they like to have friends and families around them, right? When people are going through something. And so love really has an important role to play in healing. So love really matters in that sense, you know. And I'm not talking about superficial or Hollywood or Bollywood kind of love that Louis was mentioning in the beginning. Not talking about love that manufacturing product industries use to, or advertisements use to show that love can be acquired. It's not needed. Not talking about that emotional or sentimental form of love, but the vibration of love, the attitude of love, the vision of love, right? Which is very, very different. And it is innate. It is not required to be acquired from the outside. So I will request my brother to play a little video, and we will just absorb the thoughts, and then we'll take the next step where we will go from there. So just listen and feel.
Vibrations of love. And some say love is a verb. But much deeper than that, love is a vibration. It is that energy that stirs the soul and opens up the heart. Vibrations of love call out to the divine that connects us with the beauty of life and the oneness of it all. I need not to say it with words, although it is always nice to hear, but greater still is to feel it. Vibrations of love lift me higher, and I fill the empty spaces within the soul. It is the divine in its purest essence. It is me at the height of my being. I am vibrations of love.
You feel it? The music itself stirs something inside, right? Feels like so being so much full of love. So if I am love, right? If love is innate to who I am, then why are we not always feeling it? What is happening? What is going on? And so if you think a little bit closely, try to wonder upon what is going on, then you understand that there is emotions which are uncontrolled, or sometimes feelings that are imbalanced. And when I store those feelings inside of me, they create wounds inside of me. Imbalanced feelings or emotions can create wounds. And when I am wounded, there are three things I do. Either I try to hide it, or I try to add layers of ignorance. Oh, I am all right. I am fine. Nobody cares, so it's no use to say anything to anyone. It's okay. So I'm adding these layers of ignorance, or I will start to blame others. And these are all extreme, if you think, right? Either I completely shut down and go into silence and I don't want to talk about it. I just add layers of ignorance, or I am blaming constantly someone else, or I'm hiding it. I don't want anyone to see, anyone to know. Right? And this is dangerous, actually. I'm becoming my own enemy because I'm not allowing love to flow through me. The energy of love cannot flow through me when I am hiding or escaping or putting my hurt under the carpet or whatever, right? So it is very important, I feel, as I have journeyed through this journey of self-transformation, to one, recognize what is that hurt or that wound that I'm holding inside, and then gently allowing it to be released. I have to create that space that the song was saying initially, right? My heart is too filled with all these wounds. And there are pieces and hurts and feelings that I'm carrying that I really don't like, but they're all sitting inside. So I have to free myself from those hurt feelings or from those desires or wanting to acquire something from someone. I'm asking for love from you because I don't feel love. I will feel love only when you love me. Or it's like begging from a beggar, right? Nobody has that constant form of love or permanent source of love, right? And so if somebody is empty and I am asking from them, how is it going to serve me? So let's do this little exercise, and I will request my friend Louise to share a piece of paper with you all. What you have to do is try to answer these questions, but it has to be like an automatic writing. You start writing and you just keep on writing without lifting your pen. Yeah. And you write it in circular form. So you'll have to keep turning the page, but it helps to stop the logical brain to work, and it just allows the heart to flow and write whatever is coming up. And we won't have a lot of time to do this, but we will do this, and you can take this technique and work with it when you're at home in your free time, right? So you just use the paper to start from the center and you write it in the circular form. Yeah. And what you have to do, the first question is you have to recognize if there is hurt or wound sitting inside. Yeah, can you see? Can you all see? First question is there a wound or hurt inside of me? You're not thinking too much. You're just doing it. Yeah. So the exam, yeah, write it in the circular pattern. Circular pattern, you understand? So it's like you start in the center. Let's say this is your paper, right? Center. So you start writing here. This is the center. So you start here and then you keep going like this. Yeah. Right? And so if you write with too big font, then the page will finish quickly. And if you write with too small font, then the page will never end. So just make sure your handwriting is enough that you can write whatever you want to write. Yeah, at the backside. Yeah. So you're saying, is there a wound or hurt inside of me, and what is the frequency? So these unbalanced feelings are like, for example, anger or dislike or hatred or disappointments, desires. You know, somebody said to me, oh, but shouldn't we desire if I want a house or I want a car? And I'm not talking about that kind of desire, but desire, like, let's say, for example, on a very subtle level, that at least they should do this. I'm speaking, at least this mic should cooperate with me. Like that, you know. Or if somebody's phone goes on and we say, at least they should understand that we are having meditation and they should keep the phone on silent mode, right? At least they should do this. At least they should not do this. So very subtle form of desire. It's like, you know, one time somebody said to me, a goat went to the lion and the goat said, see, I'm not going to eat you. So you also don't eat me. Does that work? So it's like, I'm not going to get upset with you. You also don't get upset with me. It doesn't work like that, right? But these are the feelings, that having those desires or hopes or disappointments or worry, fear, right? What else? So you can think if there is anything that bothers you, right? Disturbs you, that you're holding inside, not feeling comfortable with it. Right? Anything that is uncomfortable is not innate. It's not natural. So recognize, is there a wound or a hurt inside of me? And what is the frequency of it? How often it emerges? The second question is, have I spoken about it or have I tried to hide it? Have I tried to speak about it or have I tried to hide it? Do I believe there is no use to speak about it? No one understands. No one cares. What is the use to speak about it? No one will do anything anyways. I have to fight my own battles, right? So this kind of belief. And am I willing to do some heart cleaning and free myself? So we'll give you 5 minutes for this exercise. Keep on writing. Let anything emerge. No one will read your paper. Right? It will be with you. You got it? I hope on the Zoom, you all also can do this exercise. Just grab a paper and pen and do this circular spiral writing. Good. Yes. You can, I also did it with you all. You can actually continue when you go back home. But I was thinking, in science, when you find something so valuable and so beneficial, or even in the world, do you know what they do? They record it. Okay. What else? It's very valuable. So they patent it. Right? They file a patent. And so I was thinking, thank God love is not patented, right? It is not a prerogative of just Mother Teresa or Gautam Buddha or any such great being that has been on the planet. Love does not have a sole ownership, right? We all have access to it. We all are love, especially if we say that God is love, right? And this is his creation that he created out of energy of love. And if he created each one of us in his own image, then naturally, I am love, you are love, we all are love, right? Because he is love. It's like A is equal to B, B is equal to C, so automatically A is equal to C, right? So if God is love and I have been created in an image of him, then I am love, right? But then what allows me to experience this on a continuous basis, what is the fundamental practice or awareness is that to know that I am love, I have to remember that I am child of the divine. The divine, the ocean of love is my parent. And so naturally it makes me an heir. This relationship makes me the one who has sort of like birthright to his inheritance. His inheritance is inheritance of love. And so automatically I become the one who has a very natural access to love, which is the supreme quality of love, right? There is no love higher than this spiritual love that the divine supreme parent has. And so if he is my parent or she is my parent, then I am that love. This is the fundamental awareness that I need. But what happens is I forget who I am because of my journey through time, through cycle, through space, right? And I forget that the supreme being who is ocean of love, whose love is unconditional, whose love is unlimited, whose love is limitless in nature, he's my parent. I forget this. And because of this forgetfulness, all these other emotions take space in my heart. And so that's why I have to empty that space and fill my heart with just God's love, the most supreme quality of love. And it's an invitation for all of you to start a new love affair, if you will. One, I am the lover and I am the beloved. So I develop love for myself. For who I am, I accept myself exactly as I am. And second, I am the lover and God is the beloved. So naturally, I am able to experience that love, which is permanent in nature. He never becomes empty of love. Have you ever heard God is ocean of hatred? Or God hates, God dislikes this one or doesn't like that one? Never. He's constant, always, ever ocean of love. And so if I can become the one who attracts love, in this case, God's love, the most highest quality of love, spiritual love. So if I can become one who attracts love and then generates love towards self, towards others, towards nature, towards all living forms. This is the aim that we can hold from this, or it can be like our take-home message that I am becoming the one who attracts love. And I am becoming the one who generates love, right? Love that inspires others, love that helps others to connect also then, right? Because starvation of love cannot be seized by someone else giving me love. Receiving love will not cease that starvation. But starvation, the economics of love says that the receiver and the giver both are filled with love. Right? You know, the science of love and the economics of love. And I was thinking it's so interesting. The more I give, the more I receive. And so if I become, if I say that I am love and I become aware to this awareness in an awakened form, in a conscious form, then I am constantly giving love because I have. It's like this world would not exist if the way the nature works, right? If the nature didn't work the way it works, this world would not exist. Like, for example, the trees, wherever they are, they give shade, right? The sun, wherever it is, it shines light, right? And so the flowers, wherever they are, they blossom. They don't see I am on the street or I am in the temple or I am in someone's garden, right? So this is how nature works. Whatever is in abundance, it gives. If I am love, that means I have immense. So let me give it out without putting any conditions. And the more I give, the more I will automatically receive, right? Or you feel, no, I'm being loving and I don't receive. Huh? It doesn't work like that. Maybe it will take time to turn around and come, but it will come. So one other thing that I have practiced through my journey is consciously doing some heart-centric practices, you know, and what it entails is it requires you to practice something on a committed basis, on a daily basis, on a consistent basis. Not that today I practice and then it's done, but on a regular basis, if I'm practicing something, then it will help me to sustain it. It can be a very simple practice, like every morning I get up and I see in the mirror and I tell myself I am love. And I am the creation of the divine who is ocean of love. And I'm going to share love with nature today. Just 3 simple sentences. They're just a simple practice. And you can have your own practices like journaling or writing or whatever. But if I am doing something on a consistent basis, then that will help me to sustain this awareness. Otherwise, we will forget, because the world is full of negativity and the influences of the external world are very, very great. They have their own power and we sometimes fall short in front of them. And so that's why these heart-centric practices will help me to sustain this awareness, right? So I really believe in love, and I hope you too believe. And we maybe all continue to generate more and more and more of this vibrational energy of love so that we can attract love, generate love, and inspire others to love as well. With that, a lot of good wishes and loveful greetings. There are questions you can ask, but yeah, if there are any questions or any comments.
Anyone? Had a few comments in the chat, but no real questions. Anyone here have questions?
Anyone wants to say anything?
Anyone? I'd like to say something. I think that one of the reasons we bury this innate quality that's so beautiful is, you know, we throw around the terms body conscious and soul conscious. We are so into body consciousness that I feel as though people think love doesn't count. You know, if you do a profit and loss statement, there's no place for love in the office place. There's no way you're getting a raise. Maybe if you love your boss when he gets flattered, but we're into that world of ego. We're into that world of non-spiritual stuff. So the practice, the idea of practicing willfully being soul conscious, to use the word we use all the time here, to really decide. And you know what? Start with a minute, right? Like you said, start with something really, really small and just feel it. I have an example if we have time. You're going to do a closing meditation? Okay. A few years ago, my sister and I, she's 5 years younger, and I was, according to her, the best big sister in the world. We had a real disagreement that was very hot over how to treat my aunt who had dementia. And she was wrong, by the way. But it got so bad that it ruined our relationship. Because I hang around here, it took me a little bit, but I made a conscious decision. Did I want to lose the only sister I had? Because of what uglies had transpired, and it got ugly. It involved ugly stuff, not physical. Or do I want a sister? And when my heart had been cleaned, you mentioned the word clean, I got on a plane and I went to where she lives in Canton, Georgia. I never mentioned what happened. The sheer act of not expecting something in return, but my decision to take the power. And I have been loving her to death, but it's something that isn't forced. It's been natural. The sad ending is that her husband is terminally ill, and I'm there for her. That's the happy part. So the drama doesn't matter, everything you've said tonight, because I am enjoying with such a full heart. I just got off the phone with him and her 2 days ago, and it was a beautiful, magical love fest that's happening without using the word love, without saying we love. You get what I'm saying? So you can make a decision like that too. I didn't come here that way. That's kind of been the theme of this whole month. If we can do it, if the sisters last week could do it, if Niti the week before can do it, you don't have to be a senior sister around here to really just try this on, because you don't run out of the beauty of it. And your presentation tonight just really, I've had 3 pages of notes and I don't remember a thing I wrote, but I do know it touched my heart. So thank you for coming to us, okay? If you read the backboard, I know it's getting late. We have a course in English coming here, a Raj Yoga course, and other things coming up right there on the bulletin board. I will collect your pens at the door, okay, as you walk out, and we do have Toli and blessing for you. Will you be kind enough to do a little meditative commentary and take us to 8 or so? Okay, thank you.
We also have celebration of the great night of Shiva, which is the festival of Shivratri on 10th of March. 10th of March, it's on Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And all of you are warmly invited with love. So just 2 minutes, we will sit together. I see myself as that conscious being tiny point of light. I am love being.
If you could see what I see, you'd lose your breath for sure. You are the perfect replications and the ones that I adore. I carved you from a diamond and polished you with love. Then I sent you out beyond the veil so you might choose the love. could see what I see, you'd never lose your smile. For you walk in thy own footsteps when you walk that second mile. These are more than words, my love. This is poetry divine. My signature is everywhere, for all of life is mine. One day you'll see what I see, and you'll come to realize that every tear you ever cried I wiped from my own eyes. I know your every feeling and I felt your every joy, but you and I are one, my child. Still illusion was the choice. If you could see what I see, you'd lose your breath for sure. You are the perfect replications. You're the ones that I adore.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Shanti.
Thank you for a very beautiful session, Sister Tina. Om Shanti, everyone. See you next week.